All right. So, taking the first step on a new path is always the hardest. It's always the most difficult. And that's where I am right now. I'm sitting here staring at this path that I pretty much created in my mind. I have this path in front of me 25, 30 years in the making. Um, I've made countless attempts in my life to proceed down this path. And the starting is always the hardest. It gets harder every time when the previous time didn't get anywhere. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm dealing with my own fears and doubts. And they're part of my perception and perspective because they're part of my history. And they're not all internal. Some of these are coming from outside of my realm. When you share ideas with people, when you have something that you think is worthwhile but is not something maybe that's been done before, something completely original, and it seems unrealistic. No one's done it before, at least not in the way that I have envisioned this, and it's hard to talk about. It's hard to tell other people about because you get their fears and doubts mixed in with your own, and that just intensifies all of that feeling. But here I am. I'm 54 years old. I'm sitting in my rental car at my parking lot at my work. The trash guy is dumping the dumpster right next to me and creating a racket. But here I am. I'm watching the sunrise come up over the horizon right now. This is part of my routine. I sit in this car every morning for the last 2 years when I come to work. And to be able to beat the traffic coming from where I'm coming from, I have to leave early to be ahead of the traffic so I can get here and sit for 45 minutes, which I like. This is my peace time. This is the time that I feel like I'm the most able to generate ideas. I feel like I'm the most motivated, even though there's a sense of dread of going into the office because I'm not particularly satisfied with my job right now. But who is? I mean, that's just part of the life we live, the reality that we live in. And I've been doing this for a decade now, more than making videos and talking about how I live my life and where I'm going and what I want to do. It's really to leave behind a trail of breadcrumbs that other people can follow. So somewhere in the early single digits of the 2000s, 2008, 2009, and this is all documented in all my videos, and I'm not going to go over all that. This is just a rehash. They're there. I started making voice notes somewhere in 2010, and that developed into making video recordings, and it's really a diary, a journal of what I was doing, what I was facing on a day-to-day basis, how I was going from a life of scarcity, of not having the things I wanted in life, or even really sometimes the things I needed, into a life of abundance. And that was a successful journey. I got to that point. I had come out of a bankruptcy. I was rebuilding our lives. I was making choices. I was working, doing, again, a job that I didn't necessarily find satisfying or fulfilling, but I didn't hate it. And it paid me well. It provided me the opportunities to continue to move forward. And I was able to document that. My day-to-day struggles on, showing up to a job that you don't necessarily feel passionate about. But when you have goals in life, when you have aspirations, there's certain things you need to do to reach those points. And that's just the nature of the world we live in. And that whole series of videos, which starts off, you can find them on YouTube. You can look up my name, Jason Witkenack. That's where it started. And then as I developed the idea and the concept of Sage Gourmand, I started a new channel. So somewhere in there's a transition of once I had reached that goal of, all right, I am making a better life for myself, and I'm successfully doing it. I'm again came out of bankruptcy. I had a credit score less than 600. Was slowly working my way through the system, building up my credit score, building up credit, building up resources, and finally hit that point where I was like, all right, I have the house I want. I have the cars I want. I'm living the life I want. I'm not 100% satisfied with the job I'm doing, but I made it manageable. I figured out ways to alter my perception and perspective to make that a pleasurable period in my life. I consider that a success. I successfully got to that. And then I hit that point where I was like, all right, well, I need to take this to the next level. And the Shadowland concept is something I started when I was in my late teens. I designed a building. I designed a concept. I designed an ideology, a philosophy of life, which really centered on the idea of creating a new renaissance. And that's the best way to describe it. I felt sorry, I don't usually talk this much, so it's scratching my throat a little bit. But the new Renaissance concept was just, I felt like we were in a period of darkness. I felt like this is it. This is what I was meant to do. This is what I'm intended. This is my life path. This is what I chose. How do I get there? Because it's such a big concept. I mean, it's huge. I can't even describe it all in one sitting. And this is going to be, as we're moving forward, I'm going to have to kind of share different parts of that and different aspects of that. But it's really taking the concept of what the Renaissance was, this rebirth after the Dark Ages, and focus on the arts, science, philosophy, politics, everything that's has anything to do with the lives we live. I've been trying to create this entity, this location, this gathering of people to basically bring this forth. And my whole life I've always like, all right, we've been living in a period of darkness. We're due for this. I didn't think as things went on that it could get darker, but we're now there. The world is in chaos. We have a government that is just not, it doesn't do what it was intended to. The founders of this country put together a document, the Constitution, and created something that was brilliant, but it doesn't fit now. Just like anything else, evolution is a thing, whether you believe it or not. Everything evolves, everything adapts, and continues to expand, grow, learn, change. And that's where we are now. And we're at one of these periods in human history where we're at that threshold where the old ways don't match the new. And we need to move forward. We need to follow that evolution. We're evolving as humans. The planet is evolving. This universe is evolving. We need to move forward with that. So this whole new Renaissance idea now seems fitting. And I wake up every day now, and I'm frustrated with the wars that are going on. I'm frustrated with our government and the administration and the people that are leading it. And I've been waiting for somebody to stand up and say something, and I'm like, you know what, why not me? I mean, again, this is that aspiration. That's where the fears and the doubts come in. What makes me me? And I can't tell you how many times I've heard that in my life. I'm like, all right, you know what, I'll share with somebody, hey, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I think we could do as a race, as a society, as a culture. This is what I think we can do, and I want to start sharing this with people. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard, what makes you think people are going to care what you have to think, or what makes you think people are going to care what you have to say? It's not worth it. It's basically a wasted effort. And that's paraphrasing, I'm just generalizing, but that's the general vibe I get when I start talking about what it is I am motivated to do. And now I'm at this point where I'm like, I need to do this. This needs to happen. And that's where we're at right now. I am in bankruptcy again. Second time in the last 20 years. And it happened because I had debt of my youth that I cleared away and got a new start, and I created this life for myself. We moved to Texas, and I did all this building of a new life, this creation of something that I wanted, and I documented it. There's videos you can follow daily, and you're going to find somewhere I'm just like, today I just don't feel like talking. I have ups and downs to the extreme, like a lot of people. So there's days where I'm just like, you know what? There's a video just says, I have nothing to say today, or I can't think, or I can't talk, I'm not going to talk. And then there's ones that are more than an hour long. And those are the ones kind of like right now where everything's just coming out. I hate scripting anything. Everything to me has to be raw and authentic. It has to just, whatever's on my mind, that's what comes out, and it comes out however it comes out. I'm not trying to edit it. I'm not trying to change it. And that was pretty much how I made all those videos. And this is kind of where I am right now. And I really have tried to focus on narrowing it down and pinpointing a certain idea. So that's where I'm evolving into. I'm going to start using TikTok as a tool. Now, I'm going to be forced to really lock into an idea, a topic, a word, a phrase, something, and boom, make a recording, 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, and move on. So there's going to be all these pieces of all of this concept, and it starts now. Again, I'm just coming out of the end of a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. So 3 years ago, we went into a payment plan because I leveraged everything that we had trying to make that Sage Gourmand concept, that Shadowland concept, something, bring it into reality. But it was so generalized. I had this big picture. I can see what it is that I want it to be, but finding the small steps to get there has always been difficult, because this is going to be a financially challenging project. I mean, right now, locking into what I think I need to do, land acquisition is the first thing. I have identified numerous locations around the country from my travels where I'm like, this would be the perfect spot to make this happen. But land acquisition is a huge financial expense. That's the big start of that. I need the space to start building this. So right now I'm estimating 20 to 25 million for land acquisition. Texas is where I want to do it. I live in Texas. I love the concept of Texas. There's not everything about Texas that I love. The political values, the motivations from that conservative mindset don't really fit what I'm trying to do. But Texas is the Lone Star State. To me, Texas represents standing alone. It represents individuality. It stands for strength. This is what I see when I think of Texas. It's part of the reason I moved to Texas, because I wanted to let that part of myself be free and live with other people. Now, not everybody in Texas sees it that way. There's a very strong conservative presence in Texas, which is all family values, faith-based, old mindset that I think is what we're outgrowing. Texas is perfect, but I need more people like me to join with me. So that's kind of where we're going with this. I need to build up a following. I need to build up financial resources. I need like-minded individuals to contribute to something that they believe in, that I am helping demonstrate. I do not really consider myself a leader, because to lead makes it sound like I know something that other people don't. But I do see something that most people don't. I do consider myself a visionary, and I don't mean that in some flaky, corny way. I see things differently than most people see it. So, in my mind, that is essentially what the visionaries have always been. A visionary is somebody that can see something that other people don't see and can help other people see it. It's not any different than those crazy paintings from the 80s and the 90s where the ship's hidden in the pattern and you have to stare at it until it comes out. Eventually, you can coach people and show people, hey, if you change your perception or you change your perspective just a little bit, you can see what I'm seeing. And that's my goal. I'm not trying to teach people because, again, that implies that I know more than you do, and I'm trying to impart something that you aren't already inherently in possession of. This is just about the ability to see potential. And that is what I see. I see potential in everything, even in the darkest situations. And we're in a pretty dark situation now, in my opinion. But I see a way past that. And I think this is exactly what we're going to need. I don't think I can change the forward progression of where the governments of the world right now are taking us. I can't change that. But it's going to play out, and we're going to need something at the end of that. And there's no better time to start building that than right now before the end of that. So this is about finding a positive outlook. This is about finding common ground. It's about unifying individuals. There's always going to be conflict. There's always going to be people that are on polar opposites of a perspective situation. They're going to see it differently, and that's going to create friction. That's going to be the potential for violence. It's always going to be there. I don't think that's ever going to change, and I don't want it to change. There is a beauty in that I absolutely love, and I don't want to change that. But there's got to be a way where you can sit down with your perceived enemy and enjoy a meal. You can share time together without killing each other. That's the goal of what I'm trying to start right now. This idea of this new renaissance. It's going to take smart, talented, motivated individuals to come together and help other people see what they see. So for me right now, it starts with me. I start talking. I find people that are like-minded or even slightly inspired by what I say. And I've said this in some of my other recordings, and I'll say it again. I believe in positive triggers. I believe there are things in life that can trigger you in a positive way. Right now, we're so focused on what triggers me to feel bad or what triggers me to have a negative reaction. And I'm trying to get past that. I'm trying to put some spin on that to make that a more positive ideology. I want the idea of being triggered to have positive meaning, that you can wake up and see the sunset and be triggered to do something motivational. You can hold the door open for somebody or have them hold the door open for you and be triggered to reciprocate and do something in kind to someone else. I mean, these are not new concepts. These are been around for centuries. So it's just a matter of taking the time to find that perspective and create some new systems, some new. I've been working on an alternate system of government for years, but I need help. I need help talking it through and turning that into something. I spend a lot of time thinking about psychology. I question my sanity every single day. Am I losing my mind? Are my ideas too crazy? But in doing that, in my mind, I'm creating new potential for the field of psychology and treating people that are basically going through things that are new. This is we're in an evolutionary state, so these things that they're going through are new, and hasn't been enough research, there hasn't been enough insight into what they're going through. They're still trying to be treated in the old ways. So, I mean, again, these are just this idea of the rebirth. This is something new coming out of the old, and that's all I'm trying to do. We're at the 20-minute mark. I've got 3 minutes before I have to go into the office, so I'm going to cut it off there. But this is the beginning. This is where we're starting. And this was really kind of a run for me just to get used to talking to the camera again, because this is going to have to be my daily routine. If I want this to continue to move forward, I'm going to have to continue to make content in a way that's digestible for other people to understand. And to get that momentum, to get that support that I need, this is the way to do it. I need to reach more and more people. I need people to see it and feel positively triggered and share that with somebody else. Hey, check out this video. Let's give this some thought. What can we do to be a part of this? I mean, that's where I'm going. That's what I'm doing. Again, I'm this is it. This is the beginning. It's the start of something new, and hopefully I will be as successful this time through as I was during my last cycle of growth and building of a life that I feel is more fulfilling. And that's really ultimately what we're all after, a fulfilling, satisfying life that we can feel proud of when we pass, when the game's over. So that's it. That's where we're going. That's the goal. That's the plan.